the ability to just let loose. And I decided to stay because for me, that was the right thing to do. It was right for my children, it was right for the rest of the family. So I stayed. And when he died 6 months later, I started going through all of these kind of withdrawals, like, it's like I was dealing with all of the credit card debt that came from. I was dealing with, things because I had property in Kansas. And trying to sell that so that I could live again. I was driving around in the car that became the road here, so it was difficult. And I started writing a memoir and everything. And started talking about these elements to me. You get it. You understand why I never left my relationship. Because my husband came to, like my mom would open up and say, I was in a situation where my husband came to my job and he got me fired. Or I had so much credit card debt, I went to get an apartment, but I couldn't because the landlord wouldn't let me. So these are all barriers to a woman leaving her sick and sometimes dangerous situations. And that comes to the first thing about the thing. Because you guys can train a live stream on YouTube. And we call it a wage gap. It isn't a fucking wage gap. It is systemic financial abuse. It is abuse. The National Partnership of Women and Families estimate that $1.6 trillion every single year is stolen out of women's pockets because they are not making the same amount of money that men make. And that enables men to have power and control over our lives. I have boy-girl twins. Think of this. If my son and my daughter were working in the same identical job, my daughter has a chance that she will be paid $12,000 less because she doesn't. So I started an initiative called and the goal of the initiative doesn't launch until April 15th. By speaking on this subject, because we are not using the language we need to use in terms of this subject. We sanitize it with the words gender wage gap. This is not a gender wage gap. This is financial discrimination. And the other goal of the initiative is to create financial literacy. So women like myself can understand, and I know better than you well, and that's just a fact. But a lot of people don't understand. Was connected to him when he's controlling. I didn't understand that some of his actions that happens wrong before we had kids or signs of I wasn't independent and I wasn't making money. And final goal of the initiative is to connect with it's difficult to make a huge impact when everyone is working separately. But that recognize how detrimental this is and how it's perpetuated. Because when you think of the fact that 80% of the candidates that win their election win because they have raised the most money. And all this money that women are not getting because they don't make enough wages, they are like, it's $1.18 billion that the non-custodial parents are in arrears on an annual basis. So women aren't getting the wages, they're not getting the support they have from, the children's fathers. So we're up against a lot. If we can get enough organizations on the same, like recognizing the same issues and playing together, then I think that we can make a bigger impact. So again, the initiative is called I Know I Should Stay. It does not start until April 15th. And you can find out more information on my website. It's called LisaRogers.com. It's Facebook today. And I hope that you'll join me with this, with this initiative. And benefits from me.
We'll be moving the camera, that one, into the hallway, so we'll start live streaming with
Recording. We don't have service.
Okay.
We're in a barn.
So actually, with our and let's do toilet paper Jesus. So nice. Oh, Christian?
My name is Christian Thomas. It's an honor to be here in front of all of you. I just want to say I'm a personal trainer. I'm a poet. And today I'll be reading a short poem about second chances. It's a little short story about my past and how I went through, and just the trauma behind it and how I overcame this trauma and became a better man from it. Because we all in life deal with trauma, and how we deal with it on our day-to-day is what makes us who we are. So, second chances. Life is full of twists and turns, challenges that makes our spirits burn. But through it all, we learn to fight and take our chances with all our might. Growing up in Germany, we had it all. 8 years of memories that we'll recall. But life took a turn when we moved away to the States here to face a new day. The school system, the people, and environment were all so different. It was a new experiment, but we overcame these challenges, and we kept our focus. But we had dreams to chase and hopes to nourish. I wanted to play basketball. My brother, a plumber. We were on our way, and life couldn't be any better. But then everything stopped, and we were taken away. Our dreams and hopes and aspirations in a cell to stay. The walls were our only company, our thoughts our only voice. But even in this darkness, we made a choice to believe that this was not the end, and that we will be free. But we didn't do what they accused us of doing. We fought in court day in, day out, to prove our innocence to end this battle. Finally, after 2 long years, the truth was out. We shed our tears. We won the case and we got our life back. But my brother, he did it with that. Justice had taken him away. And his burden I'll carry every single day. Life can be cruel and justice sometimes lasts, but we must fight to regain what it has cast. For we all deserve second chances. And that's what justice is all about, second chances. Thank you.
We'll give you a moment. No, I'm probably. Yeah, okay.
The Boston, or not Boston, Baltimore.
People have to leave it, that's funny, but that's moving everywhere. I gotta go, and I was like, okay, I'll try it, I'll do that. Sorry.
How much is it? A student.
Oh, it's amazing that to keep it on time, too. Yeah.
So one.
Okay, so I know this is a shock to all of you. Okay. I can't actually keep it short. Because we all know I like to talk a lot. But, so there's been a theme through the book readings, everything else about abuse, all kinds of abuse. Financial abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. Hi, I'm all of them. And my life is pretty bad. I got myself together, I am a publishing house now. I've raised 5 kids, I have 3 grandchildren. My life is pretty good. It took a long time to get here. A lot of mistakes. But one of the questions is why did we stay? That's a really big question. So I'm gonna read a short passage and then kind of move things along. Not all monsters live in books. Not all boogeymen hide in closets. They often walk among us unnoticed in the guise or clothing. They wear innocent faces, speaking sweet words, spinning tales, and creating fabulous illusions. They can destroy worlds, leaving devastation in their wake, all without a moment of guilt. If you manage to survive long enough to look back at the wreckage of your life and what it's become, you may ask yourself, how did I allow this to happen? The answer is because it starts small. Like someone testing the waters, they don't just dive in, but slowly probe the limits and getting a feel for how the currents and the underweights are. It's a slow and insidious process, covered with apologies and flowers, blinding in its subtle shifts, easy to dismiss, and blinding in the whispered guilt of how could I allow this to happen? It happens because not all moments are bad. There are good times that cover over the bad. You lie to yourself in those good moments, saying, well, of course, it will never happen again. Instead, you're sorry. Maybe he meant it. This is the roller coaster, the savage up and the gut-wrenching down, the twists that make your head spin as you tell yourself over and over again, there has to be an end somewhere. You just have to hang on long enough to reach it. I had been a strong person. I had survived a difficult life. I had coped with what had been done to me. But as with anything built strong, Microsoft cracks began to spring forth from underneath. They cannot be seen on the surface, but they are there, and if enough pressure is applied, anything will shatter. Because it's small. Abuse is small moments, it's not big things. No one goes into a relationship with a punch in the face. Not ever. They poke at you, they take away a phone, overspend one time, they take away your debit card. Tell them no, and they make you do it. And then when you cry, you push back and you say, what is going on? Oh, baby, I am so sorry. I didn't mean it. I lost my temper. It wasn't, I'll never do it again. And then there's dinners and vacations, presents. And it'll stay like that for sometimes weeks or months. You're thinking, God, this is good. He learned his lesson. He figured it out. You'll never do it again. And then slowly shove, push. And it's the main. And then when you don't get in, it's a punishment. It gets worse. And there's only two ways out of this. We can die because they kill you, or you get out. And it's hard. And honestly, dying is sometimes you need your answer, and that's why they do it. Because trying to go and fight the system, fight the family, because no one ever talks about it. Oh, don't talk about that. We know our son's a little off, but don't say it out loud. He's got a job, he's got a reputation. You don't want to ruin that. How could you hurt anyone? But you have to fight against not just him, but every part of society to get out. And then you have to get a job, and you want to be able to have a job before. But then you got to keep it because now they're harassing your boss, and they won't stop calling. It's not easy. And then you got to explain to your kids, mommy or daddy was a bad person. No one has to say that to you. Do this little balancing out. Well, we just couldn't get along. And then they go see daddy because we don't have a choice now. And then the whole thing just starts, and they come back and say you were a terrible person, and you have to justify yourself every single day, every single moment for being hurt. Because everyone blames you, not me. And that's why they see. So, you guys all want to learn more, you can go to Facebook organization. There's some great organizations online that you can all like know more. Another really good one. And but there's kind of a theme here with women finding their voice. Us, every person has ever been like this to find a voice. And the more we talk about it, the more we normalize people saying this is wrong and this is bad and this is not acceptable, the less they can get away with it. And that's what's important. It's not that I stand up and fight against my abuser. It's you guys standing up behind me going, you can't do that to anyone. It's wrong. And that's what every single person needs, is a community, is a people, is a family, to recognize that abuse is not something to hide under the rug, but to expose and really make financially, emotionally, those who are. Because they won't stop, nothing stops. Because if you leave them, they're gonna find someone else and do it to them too. The only way to stop them is to make them so unhappy that they have no choice but to be. So, anyway, you guys have a great dinner, and apparently I'm your host. And I'm gonna practice a lot. So, enjoy. I gotta get, okay, so I'm gonna look for professional, you're doing this on my phone. I didn't get everything. So, okay, first person out right now is Ted Weber, presenting Inspirational Advocate Award to presenting an International Advocate Award. Ted Weber has pursued writing and music since childhood and learned filmmaking and screenwriting in college, along with a little bit of physics, and drafted home during Snowmageddon of 2010. He transformed those interests into novel writing and has been honing his skills ever since.
realize I'd be going first. So, so I'm here to give, I guess I'm here to find. So Robert Scher is the recipient of the Inspirational Advocate Award. He's the co-founder and CEO of Comfort Cases, which provides children entering foster care with individual backpacks full of comfort and personal items, so that they have something with that to start to foster care. Today, Comfort Cases has over 200,000 children in foster care system. Rob is also an outspoken advocate for youth in foster care and published his inspirational memoir in 2018 titled A Forever Family, Fostering Change One Child at a Time. Rob?
Much. You know, I'm going to keep it real short and try to keep it shorter than you, but I doubt it because I'm a public speaker. And it's my job to speak to each and every one of you to let you all know the impact that you're making. You know, the fact is that I actually stand up here and say I'm an author, but I'm surely not. You all are authors. See, I don't know the difference between there, and there. Derek Jeter walked up to me and said, write a book. And I said, okay, let's do it. I was lucky enough to sit on a couch with Ellen DeGeneres, and Ellen says, I'm going to back that book. And now it's being turned into a movie. Because the fact is, not to be a victim. I chose that my abusers, as a young boy, growing into the foster care system, were not going to take my life. I chose to make sure that when I was 18, a senior in high school, when I was handed my trash bag, and I lived on the streets of Northern Virginia for my entire senior year of high school, I chose for my community not to define me. I chose to be my own choice. And that choice was not to validate who all of those abusers were, but to validate how great I am. So for this award, I'm so happy because I should not be here. Okay, just gonna tell you like this. I should not. Somebody else should be receiving this award. But I'm gonna thank you. Ladies, you know how much I love you.
We love you right back. We know it. You know it.
And I will tell you, I read my book, A Forever Family, which yes, it was the #1 bestseller. The only regret that I have is that my husband and I had this book written when we had 4 kids. My beautiful daughter Amaya, who's 18 now, our sweet son Makai, who's 16, our baby Grayson, who's 15, and our little baby boy, who's 14. By the way, ladies, you had 9 months. Yay, we did it in 3. But little did I know that in 2019, as I was telling my story of that a young boy would walk up to me and say, Mr. Scheer, will you sign my portrait? I said, of course, what is your name? He said, Alex. I said, Alex, tell me something about yourself. He says, I have nothing to tell. I said, Alex, we all have a story. He said, no, Mr. Scheer, my story's like yours. I've been in the system most of my life. I've been in 11 homes. I am 18 years old, and I am getting ready to age out of foster care because I have fallen through the cracks of child welfare. Out of my watch. 3 months later, my husband and I adopted him. My son is not in this book. And as I stood in front of the judge in Baltimore City, I said, Your Honor, I have one regret. He said, Mr. Scheer, what is that regret? I looked at my son as I saw the tears going down his eyes. I said, I really did walk in the kingdom. And now I get to walk with him for the rest of his life. Thank you.
That's cool. I gotta say, I was a foster child too, 4 homes in 2 years. And, I understand the hashtags, the product, the post smell. And we jumping from the fire can into the fire. It's hard. Okay, up next we have Camilla Lucas. Camilla is a podcaster with her show called Keeping It Real with Carmel. As we say, 100 on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, and a wide range of digital podcasts.
While I am introducing Kate Phoenix, the founder and CEO of Everett and Chief of Westford Lifestyle Magazine, and CEO and creative director of K Management Company, a boutique brand PR firm out of Atlanta, Georgia. Additionally, Kate is the creator of Uncaged Life and online community and points other ways to uncage everything that holds you hostage within them and changing beauty of ashes. Our most recent venture is the body of Phoenix. After losing over 100 pounds, Kate wanted more than anything else. Women overcome their battle with their health.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, Mom, I know this is the same, but I can tell you what, this will never work. Okay, never mind. Sorry, Dad. You'll be back for your own.
It's really hard being half blind. All right, up next we have Rita Richmore, winning podcast, guest speaker, media consultant, interview, audio editor, and more. So Rita Rich.
So I'd like to say that Lisa Foreman is being recognized here today. She is an author of a book. She started a publishing house and says she takes in human strengths. She does a lot of travel and she pretty much does what she wants to do. She's quite happy about it too. First book was in 2015. It's called I Feel Better When It Fits Her.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Oh, that was good. So. So it's been an interesting weekend. I've met a lot of really great people. I've heard a lot of really great books, good stories. And we should keep doing that. We need to keep hearing each other's stories. The stories are important because it defines who we are as a person, as a society, as a country, as a world. Our stories define what we choose to do with our lives and how we look at other people and how we assign value. So I really hope that all of you here will spread the word about every other author that And not just the ones that won awards. Because there's another person coming. Because I'm very organized. Actually, no, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I am usually very organized. I have OCD and I went up to 11. But I had a whole bunch of things unexpected happen in the last month. And I found myself this weekend going, no brain work. I mean, said, you're the host. And I went, no brain work. And they would go, and then she no brain work. So, all right, thank you guys for the award. And up next is Connie. Right. Thank you. No brain work. Is the chair of.
Yep.
Okay.
Connie can do her own intro.
Don't say.
Okay, let me see what this is.
No.
It's a nice thing. Thank you. Look what we can do. It's never fun. Let's see. Couldn't have handed this to me like 10 minutes ago.
We know the keeper of the table.
Okay, all right. Connie Fife is the chair. So hi everyone, I'm Connie Fife. I am the founder of Talent Concierge. I'm a talent agency and a sports agency founder. So I am here to give the award to another wonderful woman, female recipient. She's a reality show creator, a screenwriter, a podcaster, an author, a published poet, a motivational speaker, a comedian, a model, and an actress. If there is an audience to entertain and educate, she's ready to step center stage. Please put your hands together for Coronel Lucas. There's your face.
Thank you, thank you.
No, again.
All right, thank you. Oh my God.
Thank you.
I totally appreciate this girl. Like, it's like, woo, y'all might be really moved. But these ladies have been on point 100%. I know that they have been supporting me for everything that I have going on. And the reason why I chose to be a serial entrepreneur is because I like that's the things that have a lot of people in my brain. So I love doing things too with most people because I want, and she's gonna look at me crazy, but I want my daughter to know that she can be anything, like whatever she wants to do, she can do that, right? And I want her to look at someone that's very strong and independent. So that's the reason why I do what I do. And it's crazy. I love making people laugh, like stand-up comedy. And I'm in different shows. And recently I just got on a reality TV show. I'll be on the So I will be on Attraction Hero very soon in Canada. So I'm super excited about that. And like I'm keeping moving, right? And I'm on the World Comedy Series. It's coming up on Satellite. And I start that day.
I really wanted to be represented. Okay, so we're gonna do it again. So the presenter is music. Okay. I'm gonna do that. This person, I already did his intro. Y'all remember he's the actor and the director and producer?
Sometimes. Depending on what we're talking about.
And also, if y'all act really well,
Maybe he'll do voice acting for y'all because it's insane.
You should totally get there and do a little Thor.
Thor. I'll call you.
What's am I, monkey just gonna come over here and do the thing they asked me to do? Absolutely. My name is Thomas, in case you weren't sure about that at all. I live in Florida and I'm very excited to present the Inspirational Woman in Literature Award to my friend Nola Nash. She was born and raised in South Louisiana, and she's a survivor, having lived with and widowed a wild man in a wild marriage, and she turned that energy into art. Her first series was the Crescent City series. It's a paranormal historical mystery set in the 1830s French Quarter, and it includes the Crescent City Moon and Crescent City Sin. With at least one more book to follow. Have you started it?
Halfway.
Halfway. Look at that. It's at Crescent Sit right now. Her next series began with Traveler, which launched in March of 2022. Look at that, a whole year old little baby. It's alive. And her next installment is titled, can't read my handwriting, Watcher, and will be releasing in November of this year. Please put your hands together for Nola Nash. That guy in the blue shoes.
We have one. So,
How we're gonna do? That's right, that's right.
Okay. I had to write it down. If I don't write it down, I write it. I don't know. First of all, thank you so much for having me here and to the ladies who know my story and who have invited me back this year. For 14 years, my writing was my solace and my power. It was a world I could control, while my reality was controlled by my abuser. He never read a word. The words were all mine. 3.5 years ago, the FBI raided our house, and my husband chose suicide over federal prison. And that meant that my kids and I had power in my hands in the form of my writing and the freedom to do something with it. The publishing world was overwhelming, especially for someone whose self-confidence and self-worth had been shattered. If you've never been to Jamaica and Dunn's River Falls, let me explain. The river cascades down the mountain in a series of waterfalls that feed pools that feed more waterfalls, all the way down until the river flows across the beach and out to the sea. To climb the falls, you have two options. You can go solo and try to find footing as you push against the water to lift yourself up to the next level. Or you can join hands with strangers in a human chain, following where they put their feet. Letting them help you find your footing, using their strength to help lift you up. Accepting help isn't something that's easy, but sometimes it's what we need. Starting out with my author journey, I was nervous and floundering on my solo climb. I made mistakes, I lost my footing, and I struggled to climb on my own. Then one day, someone reached down and took my hand. Then someone else, then another. Until I found myself being guided and lifted by an incredible chain of people, mostly amazing women. Before long, I had guided with others, but only because I was still following and still learning from those who shared their strength and who showed me what I needed to do. The chain lengthens every day. The chain strengthens every day. Links forged in struggle and polished by love. In November, I will release my 5th published novel. Next month, I begin a 3rd podcast, continuing to interview some of the strongest links in the chain, sharing their stories, their struggles, their triumphs, so that others may learn from them. But all of this is only possible because a link in the chain cared enough to reach for my hand when I was in need. It is now both my honor and my privilege to reach for the hand. Okay, so a little confused. And they gave me a different list and had different people on there. Now, I'm going through my list. And I'm like, what's that? Is that one in? All right. I can read. Honestly, me learning to read was a real hard thing. I have dyslexia. And I didn't learn to read till I was 10 years old. And you don't understand how impressive this is. Or you may have noticed that I'm pretty. So, okay, we have Laura Sullivan. She is a novelist, educator, and Pushcart Prize nominated poet who works here in the journal and in college with children and adults. And Laura's award-winning middle grade novel to the last fifth grade elementary. Take Down and Sydney Cable notable a place to table. So why don't you come on up here and
I'm Laura Chauvin. I'm a poet and a children's author, and I'm very excited to present the award to Monica Prince, who I had a chance to talk to this week. So I'm going to read her bio first and then just share a small thing that Monica and I talked about. Monica teaches activist and performance writing and serves as director of Africana Studies at Susquehanna University in Pennsylvania. She is the author of Roadmap, a choreo poem forthcoming from SFWP in July, How to Exterminate the Black Woman, a choreo poem, Instructions for Temporary Survival, and Letters from the Other Woman. She's the managing editor of Santa Fe Writers Project, which you can check online, I did, and the co-author of the suffrage play, Pageant of Agitating Women, with Anna Andes. And I asked Monica, what makes you an inspirational woman in literature? And I thought she just shared some beautiful principles of hers. One is fostering community engagement for writers of color. Another is emphasizing publication spaces for underrepresented writers. And the third was using her platform as a professor to amplify the stories of Black women. So congratulations.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monica Prince. This is so wonderful. I'm super jazzed about this. My publisher is going to be so happy. Stuff right to you. Freak out. I'm really honored to be here. I've met the ladies on accident. They found me, which I really appreciate. And they're wonderful, spectacular human beings. The only thing I want to tell you is that this is the anniversary of me getting rid of my stalker. And it's kind of weird. And they're like memories. I apparently put this long post on Facebook about it, like 5 years ago. And it feels like a wet. But like, all these guys are really supposed to take this stuff for me. All right, I could make a lot of mistakes today, but I'm so sorry, guys. So just
correct, y'all have to actually say no.
Together.
All right,
Okay.
that's gonna change over. Oh, yeah. All right, Suzanne Forrest, lives and writes speculative fiction in Columbia, Maryland. She is a past president and current treasurer of the Howard County chapter and participates in far too many critique groups. Don't critique me. With luck, her first novel, The Thousand Awards and Media Res, will come out in late 2022. But it's 2023.
And I am the woman who has not yet published.
So we hope that it comes out in 2023. There we go.
With the final round with the developmental editor now. I'm also the vice president of the Maryland Writers Organization, Association, 700 writers here in Maryland, all genres, all modes. And we've joined together to support the art and craft of writing. So if you're Maryland natives, check us out. I am actually here today, though, to honor Echo Garrett, who is, she has had over 40 years of experience in every manner of writing that you can imagine. She's been an author, she has been a journalist, she has had to work here in over 100 media. In addition to that, she has contributed back to the field as an editor, developmental and copy editor, a coach, and recently, although it's well established, she has founded, yeah, you can tell my age cohort class. She formed and she's the CEO of Lucid Health Publishing, a different kind of publisher, unlike the big five, the megaliths of publishing. They respect their authors, bring the authors along, and it has been a gift to authors and me. So I'm sharing my joy and my privilege to give her or present to her. I grew up, my dad was a songwriter. But my parents grew up in extreme poverty. I was the first person in my family to go to totally very insecure. Didn't know anything about the world. And so I grew up knowing my dad didn't make a living from words. And so I knew from a young age that I did want to be a writer, but it was really kind of terrifying to me. When I really found my voice, though, was when I realized that I had the ability to tell stories, write stories, that really make a difference in the world. And in 2004, my husband, who's the love of my life, was almost killed in a car accident and suffered a traumatic. He is
Mr. Biz, my partner in every sense of the word. And we've been in the process of, we've been volunteering a lot with organizations that work with older youth in foster care. My family has taken it to young people out of foster care when I was a kid, when I was in the system. And so our children were young teenagers at that point. We were getting ready to adopt a daughter out of foster care. And this accident happened. And our future was totally uncertain. So we prayed together that God would use this accident to show us a way to make a bigger difference. And a week later, I met this man named Sam Bracken. He was the senior VP of marketing for Mohawk Industries, which is one of the largest flooring companies in the world. And if you've ever been to Atlanta, we're the LA of the South when it comes to travel. And on the way to my meeting with Sam, we got caught a horrible traffic. And the design firm I got hired, I was supposed to write a brochure for this property. So we get caught in this traffic. They start telling us this wild stories about us. And I thought, we never did make it. But they said, homeless, he grew up in Las Vegas, around monsters and other types of things. He was still Wife's mom, because she went to the then mother for the Hessian motorcycle band. But he managed to earn a full-ride football scholarship to Georgia Tech. And when he came to Georgia Tech, everything he owned fit in one stone. So Sam and I knew from the beginning, with my knowledge of the foster care system and his knowledge of being homeless at 15, we decided that we wanted to start a nonprofit to address the needs of not only homeless kids in poverty, homeless teens, and kids that in foster care. So we wanted it to be ages 14 to 24, because I don't know many 18-year-olds who are ready to be out on the run that early. So for the first time in my career, my literary agent was not able to sell our books. It's very frustrating, because I've been with the Big Five, I've got this experience, and I knew this was the book of my life. And we went through 75 rejections, and we went through the second literary agent, went through another round of rejections, and finally, Sam and I said, forget it. We're just going to do it ourselves. So we self-published this book. This is not our original self-published version. Ours won 2 international awards for best design book in the world, 14 countries and 4,000 books. We also won every award that I can afford to win us into. And then a third agent came along. Sam, by this point, was working for Franklin Covey. I'm sure some of y'all heard of that company. And so he knew, had a lot of connections. The agent who was still Dr. Phil's agent said, I can tell you. By this time, I'd started, Sam and I and a couple other people had started our nonprofit. I ran it for the first 2 years. I learned from the fabulous puppy that I've written another book for a lot about how we went for it because I knew not enough people were talking. And I'm so frustrated by our country's lack of love and lack of compassion for the most vulnerable people. We're wasting so many young lives. But anyway, we had tremendous success from the very beginning. We're based out of Georgia, and I'll give you the happy ending. We now, we were the youngest nonprofit to ever win Emory's Martin Luther King Jr. Community Service Award. Really more that I have to say to me. A lot of work for no money. But we have a fabulous team. What we do is life plan coaching, both based on the second half of the book. We call it the Seven Rules for the Road. We have a high school program and we have a college completion program. Our coaching during COVID, and we used to do all our coaching on college campuses because that was life-changing for me as well as Sam was getting to visit, see a college campus. I saw when we left the fifth grade, like a revelation. There's a whole, I didn't know anybody who went to college. We, during COVID-19, we had to change everything because all of a sudden we couldn't be in person with our kids. And so we now have coaching online, and we were able to take our coaching college completion program national. And we still do most of our work in Georgia with our high schoolers, but this was a project in my heart. And what I learned was that also caused me to, the storytelling is so important for our kids. Part of our coaching is to allow them to tell their story in the very first part of our coaching. And it brought home to me that when you feel truly heard, when you have people who hear you, that can make all the difference. Our kids have an 84% high school graduation rate. 84. All the books that we publish, every author that I accept, no matter the genre, they all have a reason. I only work with authors who are mission driven and have a story to tell. One of my authors here is Jen Pelton, and I know we've talked a lot about domestic abuse, and that's what her book is about. But anyway, thank you so much. I'm sorry I went on a little bit too long.
You are Susan Madigan. She's a wonderful person, and she wrote a fabulous book in Literary is School. Come on, now. And I had the pleasure last night of meeting our honoree, who is Brandy M. Miller. Brandy is a creative strategy consultant for Creative Technology Services, which is a company that she started with her husband in November of 2011, and she lives in Denver, Colorado. She's the past president of the Elko County Art Club, as well as past president and co-founder of Elko County Writers. She's also the chief executive storyteller for 40daywriter.com.
A site for those who feel they have a story in them, can get the help they need to get their story out of their heads, onto the page, and out into the world so that they can make a difference, make money, and achieve their dreams. Although she's always enjoyed reading and writing, wasn't until she began her own business that she started taking writing more seriously. So her first published book, How to Write an Ebook in 40 Days or Less, came out in 2012. And she's since published 2 additional books on writing, creating a character backstory, and The Right Time, How to Find All the Time You Need to Write a Book. Released an anthology for Elko County writers, and 3 additional books. All of us can appreciate some of those writing texts and such. So I'd like to say congratulations to Brandy and
Every person in this room has a single person. Every single person may wonder why. And I have to tell you. When there is a dearth of leadership among adults, children are the ones who pay bills in life. Because in order to become the leader that you were intended to be, you must learn to stand apart from the rest of humanity. Because if you can't, well, if you can't stand apart from everybody else, people who need to know won't fight you. So you're going to be put in the crucible of all kinds of suffering, all kinds of hardship, all kinds of rejection, all kinds of difficulty, and all manner of opposition. Now, if it has, it will tell you that stars are not formed in easy circumstances. In astrology, when a star is ready to be formed, it requires a great deal of dust, stardust, to come together and to be put into increasingly pressurized circumstances. Pressure. And it builds up and it builds up and it builds up until it has 2 choices to make. It will either ignite and become a star that burns so brightly that light years away, people wander in darkness, keep their way to light, or it collapses in on itself, and it becomes a black hole that sucks the life and the light out of everyone and everything around it. Whether you become a star that shines or a black hole that sucks everything away is your choice to make. And you guys in this room have chosen to shine. And for that, I applaud you. With poverty, but that's for repeat. When my son was in boot camp in 2014, I had no money to go see him because his mental health was affected. And I knew my baby. The only thing I had that I could see that was of value to anybody was to put my journal entries together into a book I called Poverty Diaries. And those were the excerpts from my stories of walking through poverty. And because I wanted people to see it from the inside out instead of from the outside in and try to solve it from the outside in, not knowing what really goes on inside the head of people who are undergoing it. And not bothering to ask them what they really need or to think about what they're really going through. And so that's what I published. And it helped me raise enough money to get there, but I had to get back home. But I did get back home eventually. And then 2 years later, I had my first encounter with a woman who helped me start my writing business. And she was the one who inspired me to understand that our stories become the bridges that connect humanity together. When we share our stories, we invite people into our most vulnerable parts of ourselves, and we help people understand one another and to walk in one another's shoes and to open the doors to them. And our minds and our hearts begin to open one another, and we form bridges of connection that last. If we want peace in this world, we need more people sharing this story like we've all done. And so I wrote 7 steps to change your life in the world. And the last step, of course,
Well, the last step is to partner with others, the step before that is to share your story. So that led me on a journey, and 3 years later, I woke up on a Saturday morning going, I have problems, because I had a dream that showed me that every problem I faced in the past was an opportunity for profit in the present moment, and every problem I faced that I didn't yet know how to solve was something I could offer the future, and I was never gonna run out of problems. But that was a good news, because I was never gonna run out of opportunities for profit. And today, this past year in July, I realized that that also means that I now have the power to equip people to turn their dreams into reality. Because money is only a tool that measures two things. The trust that somebody has that you can deliver a given result, and the amount of commitment the other person has to getting that result. If you're the greatest dentist in the world, if the other person doesn't need a root canal, it doesn't matter how good you are, they won't buy it. They have no commitment to it. They have no need for it. If you're the person needing a root canal and you're facing somebody who's not a really good dentist, you're not going to gamble with your health. The amount of pain that could be caused would be greater than the pain you're already in. So it has to be the measure. And with that, you simply have to help people understand their value. You have to help them find the thing that is uniquely theirs to offer the world, cultivate that, lift them up, and show them so that they too can become a part of the rock. Thank you again. You know, I think we can all agree, and everyone said, stories are important. I'm really glad everyone's giving an opportunity to share their stories, inspire others to share, and to continue. We can become the people of stories in a much better world, because stories make us understand. Anyway, all right, Nola Nash was born and raised in South Louisiana. I love it. Nola Nash now resides in Franklin, Tennessee, and works as an online high school instructional coach. Our Crescent City series is a paranormal historical mystery set in the 1830s French Quarter. It includes Crescent City Moon, Crescent City Sin, with at least one more book to follow. So why don't we, I'll clap and bring her on up here. Write this one down. I don't know what y'all were doing when you were 17 years old, but when I was 17 years old, it sure as hell wasn't anything that anybody could have. I've got a couple of daughters, one who is almost 21 and one who is almost 17. And neither one of them could think that they would be standing up here on the stage for it. They're fantastic. They're wonderful. And I love them very much. They have done their own thing. But one thing that neither one of them enjoys is writing. It's kind of sad for me. But I've had the opportunity this weekend to meet two 17-year-old young women who have inspired me. And I hope that they have inspired you to know that there is no set age to become a published author. I have another friend of mine who published her first book at 84. And so I am really excited to know that there's a wide range in which we can be successful and powerful women. So it is my privilege, my honor, to recognize Alan and Amy. You know, take this shiny thing.
family, the ones who are here and the ones who could not make it. And then everyone who made this possible. Don't mock it. You wanted us. We couldn't have done this without you. This just shows that we're on the right path. Everyone always tells us how proud they are of us, and we really appreciate that so much. But when no one truly knows how proud we are of ourselves and each other. We take so much pride in our work and sharing it with all of you, the rest of the world. And clearly you must be doing something right. Realizing we have a voice through writing is one of the most rewarding parts of our journey. We write to inspire change in a world that needs guidance during an age full of new challenges. We want our voices to be heard now instead of waiting for later. Because people will always tell you to wait. They'll say it's too risky right now or you're not ready. But if you always wait for that perfect moment, you'll forget to start. There's no such thing as a perfect moment. You're the one who has to make that moment special. You won't know until you try. Don't know. All and there's no better time than the present. And if you keep waiting, you'll be waiting forever. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So apparently I'm supposed to call myself up high. In case y'all didn't know who I was, my name's Lisa Gordon. I own Indies United Publishing House. I house HP authors from around the world. They are very diverse, from all colors and creeds, orientations. All I care about is, did you write a good book? Because everything else is about and what you do with your life. So, I mean, I guess if you killed someone and told me that you buried her somewhere back here, I mean, I might worry about that. But other than that, it's your life. So anyway, I'm really, really happy that I can be here. And I was a little hesitant about hosting because I'm gonna have to sleep all weekend. But every time I get up here talking, I get a little more awake, and I really like it. And so thanks for y'all to put up with me. And so I want to talk a little bit about Gabrielle Vieira. She's an author, a speaker, and a self-proclaimed word nerd who wants to challenge the status quo of higher education. Her mission is to empower writers to apply an entrepreneurial mindset to the professional growth. Gabriella earned her MFA in the New School of New York, and she's online if you want to find out more about her. So, all the things. But I got this right.
Thank you, everyone. I'm blown away. I want to thank the ladies for finding me. I don't even remember how we connected at the first time, but I'm just so humbled and so honored to know you and to be part of your world.
Like everybody else.
I'd like to give a shout out to my agent for helping keep me out of trouble and, keeping me doing good work. My parents who've been really supportive for all my work. And my kids aren't here right now. One is terrible. And most importantly, I really want to shout out my who's here, who's been chauffeuring me around all weekend. And for almost 20 years now, so thank you for being here. And then to all my word nerds, all the people who've been part of the DIY movie journey, whether it's people that I've just met this weekend and I'm so thrilled to know, or it's folks who have known me from the very beginning when I was an itty bitty baby author and just getting my start. Thank you all for being here.
Ladies.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know what you've done.
I don't know, but we'll fix Now you don't want to.
Bye, JD.
Okay, come. Right, go.
Yeah.
Well,
She does block poetry in case anyone's interested. All right, this is really kind of cool, and I don't know, maybe you should watch it.
All right.
And she put this together. Stuff.
And stuff,
And
right?
stuff.
But literally, this is my honor and my privilege. And you know, when I grow up and I'm like, 5'5", and then be like. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, you want to sit there? Oh, good. Because, I mean, this dress was meant to. Okay, sure.
Do we need to sit you on a chair?
I know, right? I think that song, I wish I was a little bit taller. All the things. I'm definitely okay, well, she was like a priesthood and she worked harder than Lola and I. And I feel like, I'm not too on board, but I feel like that's something to be said. Media award that I have received that she didn't say that either. I have been making films for 10 years. I've been writing novels for 12. And my first novel, my first published piece, I was 15. I was 23 years. So I've been.
You look good, girl.
True story.
I just want to say, Jason, I'm honored to be here because so many different people. So many different ways who are being honored, and we're all the same. No matter what our stories are, no matter how we do this, we're all immortal because we all put words on paper that will live well beyond us. And that makes us all superheroes. I want you guys to all understand that we have a power that nobody can see. I'm not saying anything else.
Yes, you will. Come on, come about the movie. Come on, baby. You can say, oh, okay, bye.
All right, it is actually, this is the last one. Wait, do what?
But she has no faith.
I'm a control freak, I have no faith in anyone. I'm in your toes now, she has no faith. My feelings are crushed, I need a cookie, guys. Oh, it's that kind of doing it, yeah. My authors will confirm this, when you're bad to me, I make them send me cookies. All right, so, coming up, there's this woman around the corner. Name's Winona. I think someone might have seen her here a time or two. And she's done many things like put this together for all of us. So.
No one can hear you on the. No one. No one can hear you.
Like it's times right now, I was like, I'm trying to be a lady. You're
Lady.
gonna be a lady and loud.
Yes, you're loud.
That's not the thing she shows They lie.
Okay, so I'm doing a bit of a U-turn, and I'm sure he's gonna hate it.
Oh, he's absolutely gonna hate it. But I'm absolutely gonna love it.
Yeah,
But absolutely gonna love it.
so we were supposed to give the award to Dr. Prasad Savannah because he volunteered in the Obama Hospital for free to fight COVID when we first came out. still on 97 on his way here.
Oh.
So we would hope that we hope he's okay.
You're well,
And but he took time to text and said, I can't make the award in an accident on 97. So I think he's definitely functioning.
right,
We know that much.
and it was long overdue when we did this anyway.
And we were going to do this next year, but we're like, why not?
Why not do it this year? Dr. Mike,
Hold on. Let's introduce it.
no, Dr. Mike.
No, I know.
All right.
So
I'll let you pass.
the person that we are going to give an award to instead of Dr. Savannah.
Well, not instead, you also get it.
Yeah, he will get his award.
Well,
Also, but anyway, since he's here and he's done this class.
And we love him.
Can I say that?
No,
You did
you
not.
cannot.
You cannot. You cannot do it by yourself.
It was a joint decision. So jointly, we are decision. Okay, good.
All right. So now that the competition. This doctor fought in the Vietnam War. Met him at a bar. Best place to meet people. Hotel bar. If you were, this isn't a local doc, maybe not so much, but met him in a bar. Told him a story about how it's like having a bar and change. And honestly, one of the only things that I decided, not one of them, it's like information, that I decided that I actually wanted to pursue my goal of going to mini med school at this age was because I recognized that he had already done it. And he did it well. And he also did it in a tiny community. And sometimes he did it for free. Or if I'm correct, I remember your story.
Over
chickens.
Over chicken.
When he said he did it with chickens, I said,
Yes, he did.
he's gonna hold Dr. Savannah's award so we can get the photo.
But it's
But
really
know
funny.
that this is year 2024, and we're presenting the award to Dr. Mike Nelson.
Come on.
I'll get you a better one.
This works fine.
Okay.
I don't get my picture taken?
Hey, that could be your new pet name. Good.
Ready?
I just went through a 5-day deodorant. I gotta say, I look like a piper next to you. You talk about a role model, you're truly amazing. So I can't, thank you enough. This is great. Well, okay, it's never too late. First book, 69 years old. Last book, I'm 72 now, and there's one coming out in a couple of weeks. So I started writing because it was cathartic. Foster care, been there. Poverty, I know that one personally. I am 100% disabled Army veteran from the Vietnam War. But I gotta tell you, screws you up. And I learned the hard way. I have to be careful what I talk about. My partner here, Kate, the criminal defense attorney. 40 years in the New Jersey judicial system. And she tells me I can't talk about some of that stuff because the statute of limitations doesn't expire. So you're right, I didn't go to med school until I was 34. And I had some making up to do. And the one thing I learned from all of you people talking today, and the one thing that I recognize the most, that we need the most, all of these things, is empathy. I used to walk in, by the way, not just chickens. My practice was in rural northern Wisconsin, in a large Amish community. And there were many, many times after house calls, and I did house calls 3 days a week.
After house calls, I'd come home with a dozen eggs, 2 loaves of bread, a pound of egg noodles, and a hog liver. $12. I don't know why my wife stayed. And I was thinking about that when we were talking about why did they stay? And life was hard for my folks, but they stayed. And I realized that why a lot of people stay is that their parents stay. I used to come into the room sometimes to see a patient. And all I'd have to do is say, "How are you doing today?" And the tears would start. And I began to realize that what is ailing patients is rarely what the problem is. And I mentioned it, I've been very lucky in my life. I've learned lots of lessons and I've done some fun things. And one of the people I met along the way was a physician from Boston, Mass. His name was Ken Pelletier. If anybody knows him, he wrote the book called Mind is Healer, Mind is Slayer. And he told me that what he discovered was women would rather die of cancer than learn how to stop hating their husbands.
That's fair.
I understand, but just like foster care, just like poverty, I had the marriage too. Only it was a reverse thing. And they asked me, when my sons were 15 and 12, they came to me and they said, "Dad, you have to leave her or you're gonna die." And so I did. They didn't talk to me for a year. But I learned my lesson. And the reason I stayed is because my parents did. And that's what you do. So every book I wrote was about me because it was a journey of discovery. And, you write, I'm sure you ladies know too, when you write things down, you realize how you feel. And the words that come out, until you read them again, all of a sudden there's clarity. This clarity is what we all need. And I can't believe this is a ton of people that are all doing the right thing. They're all doing the right thing in different ways, different avenues, and different people. And it's funny because these two ladies, I'm telling you, you know what they say, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Sometimes I think his humor is a little cruel. But they also put people in front of you that you really need to meet. If you're paying attention, most of the time we go, "Oh, that's what he did." That didn't happen with these two. And it's a really terrific story, but time is short. It's a really terrific story. These women show up when you need to meet them the most. And every single person in this room now understands that. And the amazing thing about it is, it's immediate clarity. You know that they're there for a reason. And I gotta tell you, I wouldn't have published a book if I hadn't bumped into them in the hotel bar. And they asked me, "What's the best shot of whiskey I can take?"
Yeah, that sounds like us, for sure, for sure.
I'm a lady, come on,
For
don't say
sure.
anything.
For sure.
These guys were dressed to the nines. And a full hat and everything. And they walked in and they said, "What kind of whiskey should they take a shot with?" I'm an Irish Catholic. If there's anybody that knows about a shot of whiskey, it's my father. But he taught me well. So let's keep our eyes open and see the people that are really trying to see us. I am so blessed to be able to do what I did for 40 years. And I hope that people are able to read what I write because of the journey that it took me to get here. But I gotta tell you, it's a great story. And so is yours. So keep writing, for goodness sake.
This be the end of the event. We have these lovely ladies right here to thank for bringing us all together.
Who was that?
Really?
Who had the most personality?
Guys, you know, and if I mispronounce your name, I
So before we wrap up, and now I am not going to be the person who wraps this up this year as well. I figured for my final act, as doing these awards, I should not be the one, I should be late to versus be handled on stage. But before we do that.
I didn't even think of that, let's do it.
Wait, that's not gracious.
It is, it's gracious. It's gracious. Hold on.
They say in all the books. So I'm gonna do a few announcements. Number one, you still didn't find that donation box, so,
Yeah.
the donation box. Number two, downstairs, there are books for sale of some of the authors in this room. You can meet them and have
Yes. And please, y'all, because I literally just lost 20 pounds.
No, don't eat it.
I'm gonna really eat it. Please eat it. Please eat it.
I'll eat your cake.
Yeah.
I got you back.
Oh, okay. I'm good. No, go. Okay. I want to tell everybody that my book downstairs at the Sycamore Road is there for you to pick up and take about, so you can have it. It is free for you. First come, first served.
Thank you very much.
Because I mean, everyone hates announcements. Number four, after this, there will be interviews. Yeah, three of them. Number five is you.
Number 5 is Joy Vaughn.
I'm sorry. This one we graciously
No,
take over.
wait. Joyce Meyer came up for interview. And number 6 is, I'm gonna call the young poet because, well, how cool is you need this, right? So let's graciously bow. Yes. Come on.
Ron Ladwani, I'm a queer poet from Philadelphia. And I write about feminine rage. I'm deeply moved by all of the amazing speeches everybody has given and the stories that they've told, and realizing that I am both fortunately and unfortunately in good company. And so that I have just a couple of short poems. I encourage you to be angry with me. It's a specialty. If you'd like to laugh, if you'd like to snap, if you'd like to, I don't know, get up and do a dance, that's up to you. But and can we get one more round of applause for the ladies? This poem is was inspired actually by a memoir writing panel at AOU last year. Because there are so many memoirs here, and memoir frustrates me. I have found out a lot. To the men who feel like don't do them justice, I'm not interested in curating men who abused me into nuanced characters. I'm really not. You didn't coerce me against my wishes with nuance. You didn't gaslight me with nuance. And if you complain that I've made you into some kind of villain, I won't break your fucking nose with nuance either. And honestly, I agree. I agree with you. You have been a villain for far too long. It's my turn. Terms and conditions. I permission myself to remember incorrectly, to remember with my tongue and my salt, remember with my girl brain, without the moral weight of hindsight. I give myself permission to name names, call it/you what you/it is/are. I permission myself hate. I permission myself vicious and unreliable and hysterical and unpretty and all the top shelf states of being men have had to reach over me to bring down to my level. I permission myself dislike or discomfort, preferably both, mine or yours. Ambiguity, distance, and the length of my arms are all on the table, and the table is mine too. And whether I make you or play you on it is entirely up to me. This one is girl qualified, girl qualifier. I've really been experimenting with all the ways in which girl is not only a noun, but somehow also a derogatory adjective. Girl woman, young lady, lady bird, hollow bone, girl bitch, bitch boy, girl boss bitch, which girl? Sick girl, snot girl, girl sick, pink sick, pig shit, pink cheek, girl boned, girl throat, girl throw, girl gross, sugar spit, sweet tooth, honey fangs, cavity, smile girl, show some teeth, speak girl, eat girl, mouthpiece, gore girl, girl guts, chronically girl, terminally girl, girl grave in her girl dirt, girl rot, riot girl, cherry bomb, glitter bitch, glitter scent, dark pop, hot rocks, baby metal, baby girl, girly girl, good God, girly, get it together. I'm just a girl. All that will let me be. If I say the earrings are blue dust in the parking lot, if I say that hammer was a gift from my father, if I say gift, if I say took and did not return, I'm saying forgiveness has many teeth. Much like me, some of them are hammers glittering with what I kept to punish myself. If I say forgiveness, if I say multi-purpose, I'm saying I make crushed glass of whatever I'm pointed at. I'm saying I'm tired of stalking my reflection. If I say I'm hunting the mirror now, and every bent and burning memory that sat me in front of it, if I say, if I say hammer, if I say forgiveness is a follow-through swing, say it with me now. And the jagged chorus of stars will sing it back.
I'm sorry, y'all. It's true ladies action. We want done. This is sorry. The true ladies action. We like to say yeah! You're playing this every. Oh, wait. No, we have to end for one thing. That we always say that it's all about that. Good from all of them. No, Angie! Congratulations.
You're a tall man with
Sorry, I kind of have to go soon, but I will still know my answer. Yes, yeah, book. So, but I'm gonna get this one to somebody that I know who's a judge assistant, but I actually know. So I know this.
How are you?
Sure. I don't do business cards, but if you have your phone, I will be more than happy to talk with you. So take a picture of the camera. Then you just go ahead and push on that yellow line right there. And that'll go to your contacts. The internet's bad here. I will email you, call you. Yeah. When COVID happened, I started the business called my agency, so yeah, I definitely want to connect. I think my test as well. So I have a podcast called Wall Street Change. It's the second year in a row to go to the podcast of Wall Street Technology. So we spotlight organizations.
I know everybody's going on.
Oh no, I'm a hugger, honey. But we highlight, spotlight nonprofits. So my husband and I, we're in all 50 states, DC, Florida. In 2021, we opened up in the United Kingdom. So we've helped over 200,000 kids who enter the system, and then we also transition kids out of the system by giving them funds. So Rachel Bright is one of our sponsors. Yes, we provide 32 bags designed by Rachel Bright to kids who have the system. So definitely connect. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. It's so I will talk to.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, I love the time that my podcast was just. We actually get like insert yes, that is the service. So I love that. That's one of the things.
When you read our book, Sam's. It makes that very clear.
You're literally being here. I'm going to grab one big.
And this,
Real big on YouTube. Yeah, I would love to. I would love for us to do it. I'm signed with CAA. They I could sign with CAA.
I'm not gonna shoot.
That's the same. Oh, you never know my manager. She's always yelling at them about something.
Yeah, we go for that.
Definitely, I was thinking about that. Definitely. I see. Me, help me. And that's fun, something like
I know. Always rather than abandon Sam, make sure it's the audience and maintain that selection. The this man has 2 Super Bowl rings, he played in the NFL, and college football.
You just signed up.
And only college. So,
Yes.
regions or whatever.
So it doesn't match my words.
There's a very emotional.
Yeah, so I was like,
So it's like Sam doesn't have.
Oh, you're.
Well, so Sam got it, it looked like he was done. And
Overnight success is finally out.
That's what we find with our students when we're trying to just the ability to listen to and feel heard and loved is so powerful.
I knew I was sitting there. Because when she asked me, so yeah, I had some books on my own. Yeah, that's all my name.
Yeah.
Right, you're building it up and building it up, so it's like, okay, we're here, now we're launching.
had no idea, and part of the president.
Well, I spent.
That's the moment it was uncrazy. And that's why. Just, yes, it's an it just came with its oppression. So the book really she created Brandon was messed up. There's that's why oh,
The more.
Yes.
It's called the Renaissance.
Yes.
Even though they're all non-fiction, I think I didn't mention, I failed to mention about this because I didn't give up and leave up. We decided on still has to get reading. We also got it like everything on Facebook stadium, fireworks, sun, cause, and touches so hard. And so even all our facilities that have my husband and my son are speaking really how this all got rolling. So it's photographer. I've been building a lot of travel. Just come on with my and all of a sudden it's like everything shut down again. And so Kevin and Connor started writing a book together and we published it and got the attention and stuff. It's a historical fiction fantasy novel, but it was set like after the 1918 pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And it was set in rural Savannah, around Savannah. And the lead character has a disability, and she was orphaned, abandoned, died, which was causing back then. And it's about it addresses bullying, it addresses, because my son was severely bullied as a child. So I was as a teenager. We actually changed schools at the same. I changed schools for the boys in 8th grade. So we had to take him out of public school because he like. Oh no! Oh, beautiful. But anyway, but that novel. It has so many lessons, and it has our family. A lot of love and wisdom. It's about finding forgiveness, finding redemption, finding, just understanding that